Hey there folks, welcome back to another spine-tingling episode of Cemetery Horror Tales. Today I've got some bone-chilling accounts that'll make you double-check your locks at night. So let's dive in. Imagine this. You're living on the outskirts of a sleepy town, surrounded by acres of land. It's not your typical suburban setting. It's more secluded, with the nearest neighbor a good distance away. Sounds like the perfect place for peace and quiet, right? Well, not quite. One fateful weekend, while going about your usual routine, you catch sight of a figure wandering through the trees on your property. Strange, considering the direction they're headed leads to nothing but dense woods. You brush it off at first, but as night falls, those footsteps outside your window send shivers down your spine. Turns out this mysterious visitor has a knack for showing up uninvited. Each time, inching closer to your doorstep until one eerie night, you find him standing in your driveway, staring up at your house with an unsettling gaze. Cue the goosebumps. With the police on their way, you brace yourself for the worst. But when they finally arrive, the man disappears into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of dread. Was he just a lost soul wandering the night? Or something far more sinister? The answers remain buried in the shadows. Now, onto our next tale of terror. Picture this. A small warehouse, tucked away from prying eyes, its secrets hidden behind nondescript walls. It's the perfect setting for a late-night encounter you'd rather forget. As the lone worker on the graveyard shift, you're no stranger to solitude. But when a persistent stranger begins knocking on the doors after hours, you can't help but feel a chill in the air. Despite your warnings, he keeps coming back, night after night like a specter haunting the premises. Then, one evening while on the job, you hear a strange noise emanating from the back of the building. Curiosity gets the better of you, leading to a discovery that sends shivers down your spine. That same stranger lurking in the shadows, his intentions unknown, his presence unsettling. With the authorities alerted, you hope for an end to the madness. But as days pass and the stranger eludes capture, you can't shake the feeling that he's still out there, watching, waiting. His motives as murky as the night itself. And finally, we have a tale that hits a little too close to home. Imagine returning to your condo after a long day's work, only to find yourself face to face with an intruder. Despite your best efforts to secure your home, this unwelcome guest slips inside unnoticed, leaving you paralyzed with fear. As you grapple with the aftermath of the break-in, questions linger. How did they gain entry? What were they after? And perhaps most chilling of all, will they strike again? In the end, the answers remain elusive, lost to the shadows of uncertainty. But one thing's for sure, when it comes to tales of terror, the truth is often stranger than fiction. So, dear viewers, as you drift off to sleep tonight, remember to lock your doors and keep a watchful eye on the darkness beyond. You never know what horrors lurk in the night until they come knocking at your door. Until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and may your dreams be free from the things that go bump in the night. Good night, and sweet nightmares. Picture this. A sprawling cemetery, nestled in the heart of a small town, its ancient headstones bearing silent witness to centuries of forgotten souls. It's the kind of place where the veil between the living and the dead grows thin, especially under the cover of darkness. Our story begins with a curious visitor, drawn to the cemetery's eerie charm on a moonlit night. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah had always been fascinated by the macabre. And what better place to satisfy her curiosity than an old graveyard? As she wandered among the weathered tombstones, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every rustle of leaves, every whisper of the wind, seemed to carry the echoes of long-forgotten spirits. But Sarah brushed off her unease, convinced it was just her imagination running wild. That is, until she stumbled upon an ancient mausoleum hidden in the shadows. Its stone walls loomed ominously, a silent sentinel guarding the secrets within. Unable to resist the lure of the unknown, Sarah approached, her heart pounding in her chest. As she reached out to touch the cold, damp surface of the mausoleum, a chill ran down her spine. Suddenly, the heavy doors creaked open, revealing a yawning abyss of darkness beyond. Sarah hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to turn back, but curiosity got the better of her. With trembling steps, she ventured into the depths of the mausoleum, the darkness swallowing her whole. The air grew thick with the scent of decay, and strange whispers echoed in the shadows. Sarah's heart raced as she pressed on, her every instinct screaming for her to flee. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the whispers ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that seemed to suffocate the air. Sarah's pulse quickened as she realized she was no longer alone. Something was watching her from the darkness, its presence looming like a specter in the night. With a sense of mounting dread, Sarah turned to flee, but the doors of the mausoleum slammed shut before her, trapping her in the suffocating darkness. Panic seized her heart as she pounded on the cold stone walls, her cries for help swallowed by the void. Hours passed like an eternity as Sarah huddled in the darkness, her mind consumed by fear and despair. And then, just when all hope seemed lost, a faint glimmer of light pierced the gloom, casting long shadows across the chamber. With a surge of newfound courage, Sarah followed the light, her hands trembling as she pushed open the heavy doors of the mausoleum. As she stepped out into the cool night air, she breathed a sigh of relief, the weight of the darkness lifting from her shoulders. But as Sarah glanced back at the mausoleum, she couldn't shake the feeling that she hadn't escaped unscathed. For in the depths of the graveyard, something ancient and malevolent still lurked, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim to wander too close. And so, dear listeners, as you wander among the tombstones of the dead, remember to tread carefully, for you never know what restless spirits may lie in wait. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and may the darkness never claim you as its own. Deep in the heart of a forgotten cemetery, where the moon casts long shadows over crumbling gravestones, lies a tale of terror that will send shivers down your spine. Meet Emily, a young woman with a penchant for exploring abandoned places. One moonlit night, driven by curiosity, she finds herself drawn to the ancient cemetery on the outskirts of town. Ignoring the warnings of locals, she ventures into the darkness, her footsteps echoing among the silent graves. As Emily wanders deeper into the graveyard, she's overcome by a sense of unease. The air grows thick with the scent of decay, and strange whispers seem to emanate from the very earth itself. But Emily presses on, her heart pounding in her chest, eager to uncover the secrets hidden within. It's not long before Emily stumbles upon a forgotten crypt, its stone facade weathered by time. Intrigued, she approaches, her hand trembling as she reaches for the rusted handle. With a creak of protest, the heavy door swings open, revealing a yawning chasm of darkness within. Undeterred by the ominous silence that greets her, Emily steps into the crypt, her flashlight casting long shadows along the damp walls. The air grows colder with each passing moment, and Emily's breath fogs before her eyes as she ventures deeper into the abyss. But as she reaches the heart of the crypt, Emily's flashlight flickers and dies, leaving her stranded in the pitch-black darkness. Panic sets in as she fumbles for her phone, the feeble glow of its screen offering little solace in the suffocating blackness. Just when Emily fears she'll be lost forever in the depths of the crypt, she hears it, a low guttural growl echoing from the shadows. Frozen in terror, she listens as the sound grows closer, its source hidden in the impenetrable darkness. With a sudden burst of courage, Emily turns and flees, her heart pounding in her ears as she races toward the exit. But as she reaches the threshold of the crypt, a cold hand grabs her ankle, pulling her back into the abyss with a strength that defies explanation. As Emily's screams echo through the graveyard, the crypt doors slam shut behind her, sealing her fate within its ancient walls. And as the night wears on, the only sound that remains is the mournful wail of the wind, carrying Emily's desperate cries into the eternal darkness. So, dear listeners, the next time you find yourself drawn to the quiet solitude of a cemetery at night, remember the fate that befell poor Emily. For in the shadows of the graveyard there are secrets that should never be unearthed, and horrors that should never be disturbed. Until next time, stay safe, and may the restless spirits of the dead never cross your path.